Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Golden Threads, What Do the Women Say? Healing and Resilience, a Guided Meditation with Ashira Darwish. My name is Sahar Asaf. I'm the Artistic Director of Golden Thread Productions. We are the first US theater company devoted to the Middle East, and we were founded in 1996 by Turanja Ghazarian. We would like to begin by acknowledging that we exist and thrive today on the unceded land of the Ramaytush Ohlone people, known colonially today as San Francisco, California. We also recognize that land acknowledgements ring hollow without addressing and confronting the US government's complicity and sanctioning of the ongoing colonization, dispossession, land theft, and ethnic cleansing of Palestine. As we continue to reel from the genocide in Gaza, which is now continuing in the West Bank and Jenin, it's more important than ever to find the strength to honor and celebrate those who resist and those who embody resilience. And that is why this International Women's Day, we chose to be with Ashira Darwish. This event also marks the launch of Golden Threads Season of Solidarity, which builds on our 2024 season for Palestine, deepening our commitment to uplifting Palestinian voices and stories, because it's free Palestine until Palestine is free. This season aims to illuminate the interconnectedness of our struggles, amplifying Palestinian, Armenian, and Afghan stories. It is our duty, both as artists and as global citizens, to learn from our histories, to tell our stories, and to pass our narratives on to future generations. There is so much power in our collective voice, in the bonds we create, and in our solidarity. I'm deeply grateful to be sharing this virtual space with you all today. Before we begin, I would like to thank our sponsor, Women's Arts, and especially Martha Richards, for her generosity and unwavering support of this program and our mission. I also want to thank the creators of the film Where Olive Trees Weep for bringing this much needed and powerful film into the world and for making this collaboration possible. Zaya and Maurizio Benazzo and booking manager Carlos Pino, thank you. Special thanks also to HowlRound for their continuous support and for live streaming this program today. Welcome to those of you in the Zoom room. I can't see everyone yet, but welcome here. And also those of you tuning in via HowlRound, and Ramadan Kareem to everyone, especially those observing the holy month. And now allow me to introduce our guest, Ashira Darwish. Ashira is the founder of Catharsis Holistic Healing, a trauma therapy project in Palestine. She started her career in Palestine as a journalist. She worked for 15 years as TV and radio journalist and researcher for the BBC, Amnesty International, and Human Rights Watch. She's known for pioneering Sufi active meditation to help people suffering from continuous trauma. This type of active meditation draws its roots from ancestral and indigenous knowledge. Her personal journey of healing from full body paralysis with a severed spinal cord in 2012 has given her a deep insight and a highly specialized and culturally sensitive approach to the process of recovery and healing, which we will have a taste of today through the guided meditation. Ashira, welcome to Golden Thread, and What Do the Women Say?
Hi everyone, Salam alaikum. Ramadan Kareem. It's wonderful to be here with you on Women's Day, and thank you for making this happen.
Thank you. We're thrilled. We have about 90 minutes with you to talk about the film Where Olive Trees Weep and themes from the film, and also to experience guided meditation. I'll begin by skipping over the how are you question, because as I heard you say a few times, and as I totally agree with you and feel you, we are not okay. Everything we're seeing and witnessing is beyond our human hearts and minds and what we can really fathom and understand. But perhaps I will begin by asking you, where are you in the world today, and what are you up to? Where are you coming from?
I come to you today in Oakland, an occupied native land. and we had to leave Palestine in June when the trailer of the film dropped, basically to ensure that my safety and my kids' safety. And you will be hearing my kids in the background, Lyra, who's 4, and Yasin Ali, who's just turned 1 a few days ago. And yeah, sadly, we had to take the decision of either staying in Palestine and taking a risk of arrest. Um, because the Israelis have a way of coming after anybody who raises their voice, or for tweeting or speaking on social media, let alone also exposing Israeli crimes in the documentary. And it has been really hard to leave the motherland, and to leave the friends and to leave everyone, especially at this hard time when the genocide is happening in Gaza. And I keep saying it's not a genocide, it's a continuation of an ethnic cleansing that started in 1948. Because it's just an escalation that happened recently. It's been ongoing for us forever, what seems to be forever, since 1948. And right now in the West Bank, the situation is horrific, and there isn't any media attention. No one's looking at what's going on. People are being displaced. Not half, about 90% of Jenin refugee camp has been ethnically cleansed. People are having to live in tents in the West Bank. It's another stage it's another Nakba in all of its forms and ways, and we are unable to manage seeing what is happening between what's happening in Gaza and what's happening in the West Bank, and trying to um, trying to maintain a sense of normalcy in something that's completely abnormal. Um, hasn't been easy, and to maneuver that, for me personally, to be outside, I feel it's much harder, because when we're in Palestine, it's just about survival, and the nervous system gets gets into that mode of just surviving. And when you're outside, you're also out of the community, and the community strengthens each other. The community knows how to survive together. The community has ways of as Palestinians, we have ways of being resilient and having the sumud and just being together in any trauma that we undergo, and being able to express all the emotions. Like right now it's Ramadan, and the one thing that's missing is Jerusalem, is being able to go to Al-Aqsa, to walk down the streets, to smell all the different scents when you're fasting, and being so tempted, and just knowing that you can. Usually what we do is I walk from Bab al-Amud, which is Damascus Gate, and on each and every spot you buy something from the merchants, because it smells delicious, and there's like all sorts of things, and you carry them all the way into Al-Aqsa. And we break our fast there in the most beautiful and holy place for me on this whole planet. And that I can't believe that this year is going to be my first year away. And usually I never miss a spring in Palestine, and right now spring is just about, and it's the most beautiful spring on earth. Everything in Palestine is the most beautiful. Well, at least it's for us, because Palestine is very small, right? We're like, I'm now in the US, and it's just it's unbelievably big, and there's everything, I'm sure, that there is in Palestine. The difference is that you have to travel so much to get there, whereas in Palestine it takes you 3 hours to drive from the north to the south and cross the entirety. And to cross it from the width, it will take you even 2 hours. So you can be in the Dead Sea, in Jericho, where we live, and in 2 seconds you'll be in Jerusalem, where we also live, in half an hour, and then you can be on the Mediterranean Sea in another half an hour, and in an hour with traffic. But now with checkpoints, of course, from getting from Jericho to Ramallah before we left, it was impossible. They closed all the roads, and they ethnically cleansed everybody on the streets. But the hills would now turn from golden to green, and we have all the cattle. The Israelis are not letting our cattle also be free. I keep going in between, like, the beauty of the spring and the occupation, and how much it destroys everything that is beautiful in the homeland. But still, I think despite everything, I've been seeing my friends still posting the beautiful pictures of the mountains of in Palestine, and the spring coming back to life, and forging is one of the best, one of the things that I miss the most. So this season is very hard to be away from home in Ramadan and spring as well.
Well, yeah, I can't imagine how that is feeling for you, Ashira. That's a beautiful introduction. And I have to say, like, amidst the genocide, the Palestinians have always been able to bring up and out the beauty of the simple things in life. And what I said at the beginning, the way you all as people embody resilience is just fascinating and so inspiring. And I always try to remind myself, like, if the Palestinians who are going through like the most unthinkable atrocity are able to do that, we should be able to do that. And this brings me to this event, like when we first met and talked about this event and your practice, like healing. And again, like I've listened to you speak in many occasions, and the fact that I find it really strange to even talk about healing while we're still experiencing and witnessing this genocide. In Healing Home, for instance, with Khulud Nasser, you spoke about how the physical impact of colonization and occupation, and how the body carries the rage, how survival can mean suppressing that anger, even how addiction sometimes is the coping mechanism. You said that healing could only begin when the knife was off your neck, and you do say this also in the film where olive trees weep. So I want to begin by asking you, because the knife is still on the neck, where do we begin? Where do you begin talking about healing?
As I said, it's when we're going through a genocide, we've never experienced this before, but I have been seeing the only thing that we do is to be able to survive and hope that afterwards we're able to reach into our wounds and start the healing process. And the healing doesn't always look like, um, you know, I let me give you an example. When in the beginning of the genocide, when I was during the first part of the genocide before the ceasefire, when I was talking to people, we were drained. Everybody was burned out. The people in Gaza were at they haven't even understood what was going on in their bodies. And then when the ceasefire happened, there was a moment of recovery for all of us every time that the prisoner release was happening. And I could feel this collectively, because I always used to say that we don't heal individually. This is a collective trauma, and when we need to heal from it, we need to heal collectively. And the Western modalities always look at the individual and individualization of life, of everything, so that you're separated from the community, from the tribe, so that they can control you much easier. For us, we know that the tribe and the community is how we survive, and that's our strength and our power. And as people were going through the genocide together, the healing has to be collective. So when the ceasefire happened, I could see for the first time the tears. Like, people were calling me from Gaza and from Egypt, those who were displaced, and it was like, there's rivers. It's as if like we can cry for the first time. And people who've been holding their grief didn't want the ceasefire to happen, because they wanted to go. They wanted they wanted to die. They wanted a chance to die and follow their loved ones, because they have no one left. So there were so many mixed emotions in that just moment of this ceasefire, that people were like, on the one hand, this is the first chance to like really figure out how to grieve and how to cry for everything that's happening. And there's this feeling of like, we don't want it to end, because then the survival ends and we have to look at what happened. And this is exactly what happens in the body. The body is on survival mode throughout the whole process, for not only for Palestinians who are undergoing the genocide itself, but also Palestinians, diaspora, any person who's experienced a genocide in their lineage. So it's not like you need to be a survivor of the Holocaust directly, but your grandparents survived, or your grandparents perished in a Holocaust, then your body would be reactivated, but because of what's happening in Palestine, because it brings back all the sensations, all the memories from visually to emotionally, and your whole trauma resurfaces. I've seen lots of people from Japan, Vietnam. The natives had their trauma reopen and the wound started gushing again. It's for everyone who's ever experienced any kind of trauma. For African Americans as well, who have endured slavery, not only African Americans, but people who've endured slavery around the world, the trauma wound gets opened and their emotions come up, because this is why crimes against humanity are crimes against humanity. They're not against one person, an individual. It changes the entire human race when you undergo such a big event. And people were activated all over. So people's bodies were stimulated. People were going on to fight fawn mode for this whole time. Not only the Palestinians, everywhere. And your body becomes in this state where it's just surviving. And that means maintaining the fight flight, because the fight flight is how you survive. So many of us have gone through it with complete desensitization. We blocked our emotions. We don't know, we don't allow for the emotions to come out, because it will be too much for the heart to handle. And this is God's also grace and protection for humans. This is how we are protected by these by the amygdala, by our fight flight fawn, because we're not experiencing it. And if you've seen kids in Gaza who had heart attacks and they died, because they experienced the trauma, they felt all of the emotions. Whereas the ones who are frozen, and you see pictures of them, they didn't feel the level of the trauma. They haven't felt it in their emotions. Their emotions block them from feeling everything, because everybody would have died in Gaza just from a heart attack because of what was happening. And people in the diaspora as well, just seeing and witnessing. So we just go on a survival mode, each depending on their trauma. There's not one person that responds the same way. I know people who completely shut down, stopped watching the media. They pretended as if nothing was happening, and they fawned through the whole process. I know people who were on fight, and they were on the streets, and they were chanting, protesting, screaming loudly, and I'm one of those people. And I feel that modality helps me release a lot of the anger and a lot of the rage. And if I'm quiet, that's when the trauma sinks into my body. And the fear is not for the ones who were marching, the ones who were active, the ones who were strongly voicing their raising their voices against the genocide. The fear is for the people who were silenced, the people who were not able to express it. And because the body somatically knows that there's something wrong, their bodies are lit, and they're having to suppress everything inside. And this is when the emotions go from being trauma into disease. And this is when we're going to see in the next few years the effect of this on the bodies of so many people around the world. And as I said, it's not only the Palestinians. I think in the Arab world, we will see much more disease. We will see a lot of disease in 48 Palestinians who were completely banned from even mentioning the word Gaza or going to prison. The Palestinians in Jerusalem who were not allowed to raise their voice or protest or talk. The Palestinians in the West Bank that the Palestinian Authority were crushing are also going to have, we're going to see the disease coming from these places, and much higher autoimmune, much higher cancer. That will be when the body is not able to express the trauma and express what is happening and express all the emotions that are coming out. The ones who are lucky enough are the ones who are able to scream, protest, chant. For people who, I keep telling my friends who are active from Jewish Voices for Peace, this is how your body is healing from your trauma. This is how they are healing from the Holocaust trauma. Because when the Holocaust happens, if they were not born yet, they weren't able to speak. And if their grandparents weren't able to speak and defend themselves, they weren't able to release all these emotions. Them standing up right now is the only chance for them to stand up for their ancestors. And they get to release that trauma physically and emotionally, because it is very much, it's very similar in so many different ways. So it's opened the chance, also a cycle for people to heal, despite all the horrors that we've seen. There's always wisdom in how the cycles happen, and there's always wisdom in how we experience things. And we have to always have we can't, if we shrink ourselves only in the pain and of what has happened, we will end there and we will die there. And you talked about Palestinian resilience, and I think this is where it is. It's because we always look at the bigger picture, and we look at the liberation of Palestine, and we have a goal in our minds that we are going through everything that we're going through to reach that end goal, and that is the promise of the liberation of Palestine. So what happens to us in the process, in the collective, we will survive so that we can reach that goal. No matter what losses we have, we know where we are going, and we know that we are doing this, at least, and it's not alone. When I was talking to the families who were losing entire bloodlines, one person remaining, what they would say is, oh, I lost my entire family, but look at my neighbor, he's the only sole survivor. Those who lost two look at the others and say, they've given Palestine 100 martyrs and we've given one. Alhamdulillah that we were able to give this. And it's this feeling that you have to look at where this is also taking us, and trying to find hope in the middle of the darkness. Because when they drop tons of bombs, they're not only dropping them on us physically, we are receiving it. We are on the receiving end. We are the ones getting maimed, amputated, killed, devastated, our whole earth. But the earth itself is all receiving those tons of bombs, and everyone around the earth is feeling the result of this, because the earth also has karma, and the earth knows how to push out all of those that are responsible for what is happening. And the reaction to all of this explosions and everything that is happening, it reverberates all over the planet, and people get exposed to it. For us, it's like we are, as if we are the Christ in the middle of we are the ones sacrificing our everything in order for humanity to survive. Because we know that if Israel does this, then it can be done anywhere else in the world by anybody. The Russians can say tomorrow, oh, you know what? Every phone in the US is going to explode tomorrow. China can be like, you know what? Now that you have the pager attack, let's use something similar. Oh, if it's okay to drop tons of bombs on these people, it's okay to do that somewhere else. And for us to understand why they do this is why we keep our light and the resilience. They do this so that people are in a state of fear, so that they obey and they do everything that is told by the authorities. And now we have these two regimes all over. The regimes are coming, the right wing are like flourishing, and they're trying to eat everyone alive. And if we get sucked into the fear, they will take over completely, and we will lose the battle. So the battle for the light is always maintaining the light and maintaining the hope in the middle of the darkness. And this is what people in Gaza have been doing, maintaining the light for all of humanity, so that there is a chance for humanity to survive, so that there's a chance for good to thrive. They are still teaching their children in tents. They are still trying to plant trees in sand. And this is the light that is still covering all of the darkness that Israel has tried to bring to this earth. And we all have a duty to maintain that light, no matter where we are, because we have much more power to maintain more light, because we're outside of the direct bombings.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I cannot agree with you more. And as a Lebanese, I also speak from a little, bit of a similar experience, especially during the last war, like when the ceasefire was announced, for instance, and on the spot, like people were in their cars and back into their lands and sitting on the rubble. Like we see this image every day in Palestine. And as you said, in moments of weakness, to be honest, this is what I remind myself of. This is what we try to remind our community of. Like if these people are able to pick up and be alive every single day, we have no excuse, really. Yeah. Ashira, I want you to give us a little bit more of a context or explanation of the meditation or of the healing technique that you practice, because as I said at the beginning, and as we know about your experience from the film, for instance, you speak about how you lost your voice for over 37 years, I believe you said, when you were detained as a child, you stopped singing, and then like finding your voice again was part of the experience and the insights that inspire, like that you practice today in your healing and the technique that you use, because it's exactly as you're saying, the Western modality of therapy does not work in the context of Palestine, because it's not PTSD, it's not post-trauma, it's a continuous, very complex form of trauma. We've heard during the genocide psychologists across the world saying that we don't know, we don't have the tools to deal with what is going to be the aftermath of this, or even like the ongoing. So before we go into the meditation with you and, you know, the experience that you've prepared for us, maybe give us a little bit of a context so that we're prepared to experience it in the best way possible.
Yeah, so for me it's all through experience. As I said, I was a journalist, a very pessimistic journalist for that matter. And when I was injured and I realized that Western medicine had nothing to offer me, I had to look for alternatives in order to be able to go back to walking, because I was fully paralyzed. And after that, I realized, oh my God, my body is capable, my mind is capable of physically healing myself. And then there must be so much more that my mind can do that I'm not told about. And it was through this discovery about how much information is hidden from us and how much information is within us as humans. And we are programmed by society, by the authorities, to think that we are very weak, because weak people, when they believe they're weak, they are weak. And when you believe that you are weak, you're unable to change the status quo, and you think that you're so small in this world. And that's how they want you to think, that you're small, that you only can survive with Western medicine. And Western medicine is created for an individualized society, a capitalist society. It's pretty much all about money and how they can basically suck the blood of humanity and make them pay as much money as possible to receive things that they already have the capability of creating on their own. And the talk therapy modality, which I also tried and was super re-traumatizing for me after my arrests, is created by first males. It's created by males who think that when we have our periods we're hysterical. It's created by males and patriarchal system in order to control and control women, change their behavior. And also, when they think about the PTSD, it was created for the colonizer. They go into their wars, they send their soldiers in, and when they come back, they need to find a way to heal them after these wars. And talking is the modality which they use because they don't believe in the connectivity of the body. They don't believe that the mind is that there is also a spirit within you, because if you give spirit to that, then you're talking about witchcraft and you're talking about spiritual healing. And they were the ones responsible for crucifying and burning and to the stake all the witches and all the healers around the world, and all the knowledge that comes from the mother, everything that comes from the womb. All this healing, it starts in the womb, and all this healing power comes from also the matriarchal line. The feminine is the one. So with removing the feminine, they came up with very, I wouldn't say masculine, I would say very demasculated forms of therapy, which only work on one aspect of the brain. The PTSD doesn't even work for Westerners. So for soldiers, after they returned from Vietnam, they were having so many problems, and they were still nightmares, suicide. And one way that one therapist came up with the emotional freedom technique, which we still use, and I'm a therapist using that modality, and it changed the soldiers. So it worked for the Western soldiers, and not only for continuous trauma, but it's because it's built on Chinese medicine. It's built on the energy points in the body. And when you look at the human, you need to look at the circumstances, at the spiritual aspect, at the body, and at the emotions. The emotions are the reason for any blocks in the electricity in the body. They are the reason for any dis-ease in the body, comes from an emotional aspect. And if you disconnect that, then you're never going to reach the goal. You can give people so much chemo, and then it returns. And the main issue is if you don't deal with the trauma that's making your body scream out to you that something is wrong that you haven't dealt with, you won't be able to heal. And this is why we can see the differences between people who heal and do some therapy and people who just go into the Western. And I'm not saying like avoid the Western completely. If you have a broken bone, they're good, they can fix it. They can do things that have to do with, there's a lot of knowledge out there that's great and that is useful, but there's so much more information within the body itself and within the wisdom. And when you look at all the what they call alternative, we are not the alternative medicine. We are the natural, ordinary medicine. What is alternative is what is new. And the Western forms of modalities are the alternative medicines. And this modality is based on that approach, on also liberation psychology and believing in the power of the person and believing in understanding where your background comes from. And most of these I've also taught, I learned them from the people I was teaching, from the children I was working with in Palestine. They taught me so much, from the Bedouin community, because I come from the city, and the cities have also been individualized in Palestine. So it was going back to the traditions of the actual farmers, and to find that healing. And for me, the Sufism comes from my lineage, from my mother's side. I carry the name Darwish, which means a Sufi whirler, from my mother, and her lineage comes from Sufis from all the way through to Dagestan, and they traveled to Palestine hundreds of years to give the Sufi learnings. And it came to me purely DNA, not like my mother taught me, because she's completely also not, she's not connected to that for hundreds of years. It came to me while I needed it the most, when I was terrified from, after I was able to go back to walking, after I healed myself, I was still paranoid because I thought something is going to come and hit me and I'm going to go back into paralysis, so I wouldn't leave the house. So in the house, I started putting music and spinning to it. And little by little, the spinning changed everything in my world. I was able to start spinning. And this is when just as we inherit the intergenerational trauma, we inherit the keys for healing. And these keys are in each and every one of us. It's just about being able to unlock and open these doors. So I'm going to share a little bit of that. And
that's a beautiful idea that the healing is within us and we are capable of doing that. So I'm gonna invite folks in the room, if you're comfortable. Ashira, maybe you'd like to see faces. Would that be better for the
if you
experience?
want, it would be nice.
No pressure. No pressure. I'm gonna be here, and I'll follow your lead. And tell us what to do. What are we doing?
What are we doing? So we're just gonna start off by regulating our nervous system. I'm just going to put the music on and let me know if you can hear it. No, I think I have to. You can't hear it. Let me do this.
And we have Wendy to support us if we need technical.
You should be hearing some birds. Yep, got it? Okay. So because we're sitting, we'll start with sitting, but then we're going to have to get up and move a little bit more. And we're just going to start gently by just waking up the body. Where am I? I'm here. Okay. All right. So I just want you to take your hands. I love it. Elizabeth is ready. Thank you for opening your camera, Elizabeth. And we're going to take very deep breaths. And we're breathing in from the stomach. Putting all the attention on our stomach and filling it up with air every time we breathe in. We're filling up that stomach. And this is just opening the space around us and opening and getting our heart ready to receive. breathing in, long breath. You can breathe in from the nose or from the mouth. Shake your hands. And just feel that energy coming back to the hands. That. Just because we talked about grief, we're going to do something that's related to releasing that grief that gets stuck in the body. And especially for women, our chests. So it's for everyone. The chest is where grief and sadness is stuck. But specifically for women, because we tend to hold more from that, it's important to work on the chest. Okay, so you're gonna make your fingers into that 3, okay. And you're just gonna find a spot where your shoulder blade meets your chest, and there's a soft spot. If you touch it, it should be a little bit more soft, and it's kind of a little bit painful, not like soft, nice soft, but it feels more tender. And you're gonna take those 3 fingers and you're gonna knock on that part, okay? And it might be a little bit tender, it might be a little bit painful. And just try to do that for 40 times. And what that does is it releases sadness. And now on the other side, just feel around until you find that soft spot again. It's tender. And then 30 times. And now just massage the top of your shoulder. Go find a knot there. If you don't, you're very lucky. If you do have, just massage it. Ugh. And breathe into that spot. It's where you carry the weight of the world. And after you massage it and you feel like it's getting a little bit more tender, you're gonna pull from it all the way down to your hand and arm and just release it out of that hand. We're just teaching the hand where the meridians are. We're bringing back that knowledge that everything that is here can come down all the way through and get released out of the hands. And just do that 3 times. Massage. And then take it all the way down. And now on the other side, massaging. And just breathe deeply into that shoulder with a lot of compassion. And take it down all the way, and again, shake. now we're gonna try to tie my hair up. So we're gonna make fists and we're gonna massage the back of the neck. So just massaging the back of the neck. Your amygdala sits right, if you put your thumbs on the back of your head, and you can feel that place where the bone of the head, your skull meets your neck, and then there's a soft spot right under there. Okay? That is where your amygdala sits. So let's give her some love for doing all the protection work. Sometimes she overworks and she stresses us. And just bend your head and see how it feels when you move your head as you massage that spot in your neck. And then do the fists, and right under that spot where you had your fingers, you're going to start from there and roll all the way down your neck, up and down. Now you're just going to find that spot. If you have been grinding your teeth, this has been the genocide trademark. And you're just gonna find that spot right between under your ear, a little bit lower, and you're gonna find that lock where your jaw opens. When it opens, there's a space that's created under your ear. Can you feel it? And you're just gonna put your 2 fingers there, and you're just gonna massage as you move your jaw around. Mine is clicking. And now you're gonna massage the ear. And you're gonna be massaging the top of the ears. And what we're trying to do is get the nervous system from fight, flight, fawn into rest and digest. So we're trying to get into the vagus nerve. And a great way to get to the vagus nerve is through the ears. So just massaging the ear. And just pulling as you move the jaw as well. I'm doing one ear, but you should be doing both ears, just because I have the headphone. Okay. Let's say you did both ears. Yeah, everybody's doing both ears. That's good. I can do this one as well. Okay. Now you're gonna take your hands and you're gonna, doesn't work with my glasses. You're gonna take a deep breath from the center. And right when you get to behind your ears, you're gonna release the breath and get it to the chest. Releasing the breath when you reach behind your ears. And you're massaging the 2 arteries right here when you're doing it. And now you're gonna keep your face steady, but your eyes are gonna turn to which side is this? To your left Let's go for the left first. And you're just going to keep your eyes looking towards, as if they're looking towards your left ear. And count 30 and then switch to the other side. Your neck stays in the center and doesn't move. It's just your eyes that are going to be gazing to the left. And taking very deep breaths. The breaths are going in from the nose all the way, filling the stomach. And you count 30. And now to the other side, to the right side. Oh, I moved my head. Keep your head in the center and your eyes are gazing towards the right. Okay. And now we're just coming back to the center. And at the center, we're going to put the hands into fists. And what we just did was trying to get the nervous system regulated. And now what we're going to do is we're going to activate the heart area. So we're going to do it with the breath work. In Sufism, the most important energy is the energy of the heart. So all the time when we're whirling, when we're spinning, the idea is we're spinning with our right hand up and our left hand down. And the right hand receives energy from the divine and it goes through into the heart. And then we release everything that we need to release from the left side. And it's believed that if you activate the heart, it can activate all of your other chakras. And once the heart is filled with the green light, then all of them will be reconnected. So all the practices are about opening the heart. And the main way you get to the heart is through taking control of the nafs. And the nafs is the ego. And the way that you do that is through a lot of breath work and dhikr. So we have different mantras that help us to get to that point where we break free from the nafs and we go into the soul and into the heart and allow for that open space in the heart. And this one is based on Kundalini, and it's a mix of the movement of the Kundalini with the movement of the Islamic, with the mantra which is Hur. And Hur means free, and it's about liberating the heart. So when you're doing it, Hur, the most important thing is for the tongue to be hitting the top of your the inside of your mouth, and that's so that we can activate the pineal gland. So we're kind of like sending that vibration into the brain, and it's hur, 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 hur. And the hands are like a battery, and we're charging the battery of the heart with new energy. So it goes like this: hur, 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 hur. And we're moving out, so it's moving away from the heart, right? So it's like the battery is moving that way, and we're taking out whatever needs to come out of the heart and taking in whatever needs to come in. And the breath should come naturally with it. Hur, 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 Take a deep breath in, hold your breath, and pull your root lock, and keep your palms open, and hold your breath as long as you can, and relax your shoulders. And when you release the breath, you can just feel the energy in the hands and the heart. And just allow for your focus to sit in the heart. Now we do it one more time. Take a deep breath in. Open your palms on your thighs. Take a deep breath. Hold it and relax your shoulders. And when your breath is held and you're applying root lock, you're trying to pull all that energy, the spinal fluid, from the base of the spine all the way up to your crown. So it's like you're pulling the energy with that held breath. And we're taking from the spinal fluid, the Kundalini, and we're moving it up to the spine. And when we're moving that, that's when the healing happens, when that fluid reaches the brain. And you can release. And just feel what's changed in the area of the heart. And now just rub your hands together and put them on the heart. And you can put an intention. You can put gratitude. We do hamd. Hamd is gratitude in Arabic. Gratitude for what you have. And an intention for what you want to attract or release, bring more of, let go of when we're shaking in a few seconds. Now, you can stand up and you can tell that the tempo's changed. So when you hear the music, keep in movement. When I say freeze, just allow yourself to freeze fully so nothing moves in the body. And I will give you also instructions when we are frozen. But the most important thing is when we're doing the freeze is not to move the body. So you can breathe, but you're not. Oh, 1 second. Here. You can move. Breathe. Nothing moves. Close your eyes. And just listen. Take a deep breath in, remain frozen, and hold that breath. when you're ready to release the breath, release it with a strong sigh, open mouth, open jaw. And go back into movement when the music comes back. Breathe as you are. Breathe, don't move. Take a deep breath in and allow for the breath to be released. Take a deep breath in and hold the breath. You can release the freeze and just stand and listen. And now, wherever you're standing, we're going to be shaking, and we're shaking from the feet all the way up through the body. And this is how the body releases tension and trauma. Just as animals in the jungle, when they get attacked by a tiger, they don't go into therapy, they shake it off. And your body needs to shake. It's a natural way to release. So allow the music to also push you into shaking. Making sure that the hips are also shaking.
دهدهدونك دهدونك لا تغاري ولا يزن جنونك دهدهدونك دهدونك رأت عيوني بعيونك أنا حطيتك في قلبي أنا حطيتك في قلبي وغرقت عيوني بعيونك دهدهدونك دهدونك غاري ولا يزن جنونك دهدهدونك دهدونك غاري ولا يزن جنونك أنا حطيتك في قلبي أنا حطيتك في قلبي وغرقت عيوني بعيونك شيك هي هي أول 10 على الأول هي 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 دودك يا حلو
Breathe. As you are, take a deep breath in.
يا ما شاء الله دودك يا حلو اسم الله وعاهل
Stay frozen. Don't control your breath. Just allow for yourself to listen. And close your eyes and go inside. And now take a deep breath in, hold it. And when you release it with a strong ah.
لا إله إلا الله 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 لا إله.
And now we're going to do the whirling. I want you just to be mindful. If you do have vertigo, don't do this. And we're just going to try to spin. The most important thing is that you're putting your focus on your right hand. And the way we whirl is the right hand is up, as I said, because it receives and then it takes into the heart, and the heart sends down to the left. So the left is always facing down. The right hand, instead of facing up completely, because we don't want you to get dizzy when you're just trying it, I need you to keep your right hand in front of you. It's open, but in front of you. And you pick one finger that you focus your gaze on. And your left leg and your right leg is basically going to move around your left leg. So your left leg stays and your right leg turns around it. So the right, you're going anti-clockwise. Okay, and you're just gonna count yourself first, try it 7 times, and take a deep breath with every time that you do it, and then stop after you do 7 spins, and then you're gonna do 14 spins, okay? And just allow for the music, it's slow, to go as slow as you need to go. And
We
when
lost
you've done
music.
14, oh,
We
you
lost
lost
music. Yeah,
Oh,
it's okay.
let me know when you can hear it. Can you hear it now?
Not yet. I can't. Someone else can?
No, no music.
Julie's saying no. Okay. Now we can.
Oh,
No,
that's okay. Sorry. So you try 7, then 14, then 21. Okay. Right hand, your focus is on your right hand so that you don't get dizzy. If you do get dizzy, just stop and take a deep breath, and I promise I'll show you a trick afterwards to bring us back to center. Okay. Now you're gonna put your thumbs in front of you, and you're looking at your nails. Okay, and we're keep them in front of you, and we're gonna actually. Okay. So you're gazing at the thumbs, and they're distant from you. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna gently start opening your hands, and they're gonna move. I'm just gonna do it just to show you. And they're gonna open up to the side. But the most important thing is that your eyes are trying to still look at your thumbs while we're moving and we're separating our hands. And your eyes are gonna struggle in the beginning, try to like cross-eyed to follow each. And then eventually they're gonna open up so that you can see them. And your head doesn't move, your eyes don't try to move too much. So they're just trying to follow. And you can still see the thumbs, and as they move away, and then they disappear. And we're doing it slowly. Do it 2 times. And what this does is it takes you to the it opens your peripheral vision, and it recenters your mind. So when you're could be super dizzy, if you have vertigo, you should try this one just without the spinning, because it helps if you're having an episode to bring you back to the center. Okay, so thumbs, do it a few times to see how it feels like. And just take a deep breath. And that's it. Alhamdulillah. We usually end with a circle of mantra, but we need a bit more people. But we usually recite the names of the divine. I don't know how that would work on Zoom.
Wow, thank you so much, Ashira. That was
Welcome, thank you.
yeah, that was moving, to put it briefly.
Drink some water.
Yes, drink some water, everyone. And I want to invite folks who participated or even didn't participate to join the last bit of the event here, the gathering, and ask questions and whatnot. And obviously people who are on video, thank you so much for participating. And if you want to comment or share your experience or ask questions about your experience, as we have Ashira with us, please feel free to do so. I personally felt like surges of emotion happening at different moments, but I want to give a chance to others to speak or ask questions.
Ashira, thank you so much. Words cannot express. It really enlivened me. It also released me, and I could feel the world with us, really empowering and releasing. Thank you. I'd like to learn more about what you do. I'd like to somehow receive some kind of communication about that, if that's possible. I'd like to continue this work. It's very powerful. Thank you.
Thank you. Victoria, where are you based?
Walnut Creek.
Walnut Creek. You're close. We meet in Berkeley
Yes.
every 2 weeks, and we actually spin together.
Oh,
Yes. We spin together, and we do active meditation, and we're building a beautiful community. So you're more than welcome to join.
is there a way I can find out how to link?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if I would just need your email, or
I can put it in the
if you want
chat.
it, yes,
I
So
can put it
is
in
it
the,
possible to
Share.
send the community an email and I can give them?
I'll connect you all if you want to share with me, Ashira, and I'll reply and CC everyone who registered for and was with us here.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah.
I'll send you I'll send you my info. You can circulate it, and then Victoria, I got you already. I'll just send it to my friend to add to the list so you can find out. All right.
And folks, feel free to put a question or a comment on in the chat if you don't wish to speak directly. We do still have a few more minutes, so by all means, use the space.
Hi, I'm not sure if you can hear me.
We can hear you, Elizabeth.
Oh, great, thank you. Thank you, Ashira. This is I'm a very much a beginner. I've done some meditation, but not much at all. I also thank everybody who has joined me in this, joined us in the space here. I just totally want to amplify the feeling of connection. I ran through the gamut of emotions through this meditation, and feeling that I think what I'm walking away with is feeling that I am part of this earth, that I am also important, and that my work matters, my voice matters. Thank you so much for that. I am in awe of what you have been doing. Watched a movie, spreading the word. I would love to join you. I'd be honored to join you also in the Berkeley experience if you could include me in that.
Yeah, just drop your email so I can just send it, and then I'll send another email to through Sahar. Would love to have you as well.
Oh, thank you so much.
Ashira, again, like this was very eye-opening. I want to be mindful of the time, your time, and the time of our participants here, and also viewers on HowlRound. But I want to close with your words, and I want to, if you'd allow me, I want to bring something that you said in one of your interviews, I believe, if not in the movie, because I've listened to a few. You're a very inspiring speaker. You say forgiveness is an internal process for your freedom, and you led us now through this meditation, and the mantra you chose for us is Hur, and that's where I felt the most what you're saying here. But maybe I want to invite you to reflect a little bit more with us on how you view forgiveness as an internal process for our freedom, and how you separate that from accountability of the perpetrators, to close this event with you today.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sahar. So for me, I never thought that would, I'm a I'm a Cancer, and we don't really forgive very well as a or just me. I kind of managed to normally hold a grudge, and it was really, really hard to get into the process of physically healing my paralysis without going through the process of forgiving Ramkaho, the commander who broke my neck. And it was only after I was able to forgive him that I was actually able to sit and meditate. And I speak with Dr. Gabor about this, and we have this debate, because he doesn't think that forgiveness is a necessity in order to receive the healing. And for me, it was very, like, I couldn't. And the reason for it is every time I would sit to try to meditate, I would get bombarded by the anger, and I would get aggressive, and I would start thinking about what he did, and he was occupying my mind. And what I thought about it was like, it's not all about forgiveness, it's about freeing my mind. And it's freeing the mind from the occupier. And what they try to do with all of their invasive ways of imprisoning us, torture, they want to seep into each and every cell of our body and our mind and our spirit and take over. It's not about physical occupation. Israel hasn't been able to destroy the Palestinian will with physical occupation. The only way that they need is to go to a spirit, and and they think that with the murder, with the blood, with everything that they do, they can kill the spirit. And that's how you take over the light. When we first spoke about darkness and light, and if they can shut down your internal light, then that's when they actually won and they occupied you, and you become them. You become the aggressor. You become the evil. And what they want is for us all to become them. For them, they want us all to become machines and instruments void of spirit, that we're capable of killing, maiming, destroying, raping men, women, children, being able to do all these atrocities that they have done in whatever name of whatever reason for. So the way that we keep it is by making sure that we stay in the light. And the way that we protect ourselves from this invasion, from this mental occupation, is through liberation. And if you want to liberate your mind, you cannot be occupied by the hate and the anger and the fear that they produce. And the reason why Israel occupies children, like arrests children at a very young age, and I was arrested when I was 16, and I immediately got occupied mentally by the occupation. And that's when I lost my voice. I was like, music, what am I doing? Why would I ever do music? Like, I don't want to sing anymore. I want to be a journalist. I want to be an advocate, and I want to fight. And that's when they took over my brain. They occupied me in that moment of fear, because I felt like so scared and I need to fight back instead of sticking to my light. And when you release them from your brain, when they're no longer in control of your emotions, when they're no longer in control of your decisions, when they're no longer in control of how you feel, is when you are truly liberated. And the only way for that is to go through forgiveness, not for them, not to release them from the accountability. On the contrary, I think, especially now, like, this is when we need to hold everybody that has performed, participated, enabled this genocide, needs to be held accountable. And they need to be held accountable to tribal law, not to I don't believe in prisons for anyone. They need to come to us tribally to receive what is due to them in tribal law. And even in tribal law, the base of it is forgiveness, because we know that the victim will forever be a victim if they do not forgive the perpetrator. And this is what Israel is, and it's in a state of constant victimization and thinking that they are the ones who are being attacked and they do anything in the name of protecting themselves, because they come from a state of fear and occupation. And we come from a state of love. And the state of love is a state of complete forgiveness. Not forgiveness, and as I said, dissolving them of what they have done, but forgiving yourself for what has been done to you. And allowing yourself to let go of all the hate and the anger that they occupy you with, so that you can be free enough to continue to live in the light, so that you can be free. So you free your mind from all that space that's been taken by the anger and the hate, so that you can focus on the meditation, focus on the healing, focus on where you need to go. And if you think about it, like, for example, now here in the US with Trump is very good at occupying the mind. He makes all these big speeches. We're going to destroy this. We're going to destroy democracy. No one's going to elect again. Big things. They don't want any Palestinian protests, everything. If you go into the mindset and you start thinking about him, he's already there. He's steeped. He's occupied you. You're on the fear. And then you will be paralyzed by the fear, and you will go into the mode which is destructive, rather than being very focused as a warrior and going into your battle with a lot of focus. And it takes a lot of love to be in a place of being a warrior. It takes a lot of light and love. And if you release him, or you don't allow him into your brain space, then you have much more focus. Then his whatever propaganda, whatever information he's trying to make you control the way you think and you react, you get rid of that, and you focus on your light. You focus on your mission. You focus on where you're going, rather where they want you to go.
Thank you, Ashira. Absolutely, like, function from a place of love, not fear. It's a beautiful thought to end on. I want to say you brought lots of you brought a spark of light that's really needed on this Women's Day that is very hard to celebrate amidst everything that's going on. But we do celebrate you and celebrate the Palestinian women who are fighting every single day in every shred of their being for all of us. As we always say, the Palestinian fight is a fight for all of our humanity, and we are grateful, and anything and everything we do is not enough until Palestine is liberated and all people around the world are liberated. I want to thank also our attendees here in the Zoom space with us. I want to thank those of you who tuned in via HowlRound. Thank you again for HowlRound for hosting and supporting this event. Thank you again to Martha Richards and Women's Art for sponsoring this event, and again for the producers of Where Olive Trees Weep. If you haven't watched the film, highly recommend that you see this very powerful and necessary film and learn more about why we're here today and why October 7 happened and why the genocide is perpetuated elsewhere. I want to also just say that next up at Golden Thread is Azad, The Rabbit and the Wolf by Sonia Tatoyan. Another story, another spark of light, another story about memory, survival, and healing that we are producing with Hakawati NGO, and we open on April 14th. So allow me to just say this, and please visit our website, follow us on social media if you'd like to learn more. Thank you again for everyone for being here, and Free Palestine. Thank you.
Thank you very much. سلام لكم طيب. سلام.